Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my very first deck review. So, today I'm going to be reviewing Umi Control that topped in Argentina regional. Congratulations to Martin Villaroel. Sorry, guys. Sorry if you watch this and I butcher your last name. But congratulations. This is awesome. As you guys can tell here, this is the list that topped. We're going to be kind of doing an analysis and a breakdown. As most of you guys know, I am testing for my my own regional that's coming up in February. So this is one of the decks that I'm very highly considering taking. It's one of the decks I feel most comfortable in, and any time water control, Umi control, Kairyu control does well, I always have to feature it. I mean, the deck's awesome. Let's be honest. Okay, so again, congratulations, Martin. This was in the Argentina regional, so he placed 7th, which that's fantastic. So yeah, let's get right to the deck. So he played 3 Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu, obviously. This is going to be a deck analysis, so I'm not going to go too in-depth on what the cards do. I'm just going to go into like what he said, because he did. I grabbed his deck profile from MCO40's channel. He featured it, and then he commented down below like a little reasoning as to why he played his card choices. So first thing that sticks out to me is very low monster count. 11 to be exact. Well, 10 of the monsters that actually even do anything. 9, really, if you consider Maiden not doing anything, because field spells. But, that being said, very low monster count. This is roughly around the type of monster count I run. I usually try to keep it between 11 and 14. The only difference between my list and his list, which my list is going to get revamped as well, is the fact that he doesn't run Warrior of Atlantis. We'll go over that right now. So, he does run the 3 Dragon Lord Kairyu, I mean, namesake of water control, Umi control. The 3 Electric Jellyfish. Excuse me if you hear like any, you know, voices in the background. That's my family. So 3 Electric Jellyfish. I mean, in the comment he said that he wanted to maximize the consistency of getting Kairyu and Electric Jellyfish on the field. I mean, this is basically the namesake of the deck, guys. This is the control aspect of it. So if you get an Electric Jellyfish and a Kairyu, you're basically sitting pretty. So obviously 3 and 3, I will never cut these down. I mean, no deck should ever cut them down. And then of course he runs the legendary 1-ofs, right? So the 1 Mega Fortress Whale enables OTKs. Unfortunately, you do have to run it if you draw it. It kind of sucks, but it's not the worst thing in the world. If you can still get Kairyu out or Electric Jellyfish out, you can special summon it out. This enables OTKs, obviously, with Umi on the board. Doom Kraken, fantastic, lets you dodge stuff like Imperm and effects and stuff like that, and it kind of gives you some really cool plays, actually. So, the 1 Maiden of Aqua. So, obviously this card needs to be included in Umi Control. I hate this card. The card's good. The card, when it works, is good. But I hate this card. Reason being why I hate this card is simply the fact that it's so old. It's such an old card. I mean, look at its effect. As long as this card remains face up on the field is treated as Umi. That's fantastic. Unless there's an active field spell. Then it's just sucks. Then it's just Maiden of Aqua with 2 humongous pearls in your deck that does nothing. Because, think about it. Most of the deck nowadays are either playing Necro Valley, Zombie World, or the Tier Element field spell. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple other decks that play field spells. You know what I mean? So this card rarely ever gets its time to shine. But you still have to run it. It's still one of those cards you have to run. I hate it, but it's still a good card, but I hate it. You know what I mean? And for the people that have played this deck, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, when it works, it works. When you draw it in your hand and your opponent, like, activates first turn, you know, field spell, you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Because it sucks. It's a bad card when that's the case. But you know, once you get it off Dark Reef, like let's just say you only have a Legendary Ocean, and you have to send it off Dark Reef to either get your Kyrushin online or your Electric Jellyfish online, you can bring out one or the other with this card. And I mean, I guess it works, but I can't tell you guys how many times I've basically done that. The only reason why this card I feel is really good is two reasons. Number one, your opponent can't read. So therefore, if they don't have a field spell in hand, or they don't even bother to activate one, that's the number one. Number two, you kind of just cheat, right? Because you're like, you just like, yeah, this card's on the field, it's treated as Umi, right? And then you kind of go off with your plays, your opponent activates this field spell, and technically it's still treated as Umi. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Try not to cheat, guys. He runs the one Kaiju. Okay, come on. I mean, we already know. For me, this is also part of Umi Control, the Kaiju. It is way too searchable. It is way too good to not include. It's your out to basically everything. Therefore, why not include it? It's a good card. One of the comments in my profile, there was a gentleman that he didn't run the Kaiju, and well, that's good. But the thing is, the deck is way too. Essentially, the deck has problems with removal if cards cannot be destroyed by card effect. Meaning that Sea Stealth attack, even though it activates, it won't do anything because your opponent's monster can't be destroyed by card effects. So then Gamma Seer just kind of fixes that problem. So I do think it's a card that really needs to be ran. And the one vanilla, he ran the one Giga Gaga Gigo. I was running Terra King Salmon. I ended up buying the Giga Gaga Gigo. It works well in the there can be only one, which he's not even citing. But we'll get to it when we get to it. So, onto the spells. I would say the monster count is pretty, pretty normal. The one thing that stood out to me was the no Warrior of Atlantis, but he's not running Warrior of Atlantis because he is maining D-Fissure. So, I guess he didn't find a need to, but he kind of remedied that with the one Terraforming and the one Metaverse, which we will get to. So that kind of replaces the Warrior of Atlantis, so then you don't need to run it. So, I guess that's pretty good. Continuing with the spells, he ran one Harpy's Feather Duster. I mean, this is kind of weird to me because I honestly would more side this than anything. Because as water control or any control deck in general, you're going to want to go first. So what's the point of Harpy's Feather Duster? Even then, what are you going to Harpy's Feather Duster? That's what I want to know. Tier, you're not going to want a Harpy's Feather Duster or anything, to be completely honest. Sprites, maybe Smashers, if they have a Smasher set or a starter, which they can just chain to. I'm trying to think of anything else. Probably nothing else, really. I mean, Harpy's Feather Duster to me is just way better game 2. But he did say in the comment that a big portion of what he built his deck around was due to budget, which is perfectly fine, and that's why I love this deck as well, because even on a budget, look at this, guys. This deck can't possibly cost more than, the main deck can't probably cost more than $75. If anything less than that, maybe even $50. I'm looking at it. Actually, maybe around $75, which is a really good budget deck. So, yeah. 3 fish sonars, I mean, obviously this is the the engage for fishes for Umi. I mean, very little to say about fish sonar. You always run it at 3. He went the 2 foolish burial routes. For my last profile that you guys saw, I ran 3. I run 3. I am a big advocate on running 3 foolish burial with the 2 ice barriers. So basically, it's this package with this package. So he's running the 2-2. Only reason why I prefer the 3-2 package is because I want to see it as soon as possible. Not only is it a Kyrushin search straight from the deck that plays around Droll and Lockbird, which is getting cited more and more, because it plays around Droll, because you're technically dumping a card from the graveyard and then you're banishing it to send a water monster to the graveyard to add it to your hand. So you're not adding cards from your deck to your hand. So it plays around Droll. That's one really key aspect as to why I play the 3. Not only that, you also get your Kyrushin online as soon as possible, and of course it's a Gamma Seal search, guys. So just having you get that aspect is really good. I do run, like I said, the 3-2 just because I want to see Foolish Burial Goods. Very little to say. I guess that's a personal preference of mine. I don't see myself ever cutting down Foolish Burial Goods to 2 unless there's a really, really good card that should be included in the deck. I think 3 is the way to go, but he went 2, and that's fine. Hopefully he saw Foolish Barrier Goods enough that he could dump Ice Barrier. But obviously I'm also seeing that he is running the D-Fissure, so we can talk about the D-Fissure right now. D-Fissure, meaning you can't run Warrior of Atlantis because there's nothing, like, Warrior of Atlantis does have to hit the graveyard. Therefore, it doesn't get sent to the graveyard, it gets sent to the bench zone. Therefore, it doesn't get its effect. Like I said, he remedies this by getting the terraforming and the Metaverse, which is pretty good. I believe Dimensional Fissure in Umi Control is fantastic. It's a great floodgate to have. I've been on the fence in maining 1, like maining 2, I mean, because I have them sighted. I actually do have them sighted. I did end up buying a playset of them, but I actually have them sighted. But I think maining them will be the best choice because, I mean, it's a hindrance to most decks, right? I don't want to say all decks, but I mean, if you're going to go in already knowing that you're going to be facing a bunch of tier, well, I mean, that's more than enough inclusion. The only thing I don't like about D-Fissure is it sucks going turn 2. It sucks if you're not a turn player. It sucks. If you lose the dice roll, like me, always, you will never have D-Fissure online. Meaning, well, what are you going to do turn 2? I mean, activate D-Fissure when they already have all their sets, I mean, all their plays or everything else in the graveyard? I mean, come on, man. But yeah, I only like D-Fissure knowing I'm going to go first. It's still a good card, though. So, maybe it's worth the main. I kind of have to play it out a little bit more. He ran 3 pots of Extrav. So, he ran 3 pots of Extrav, again, due to budget. But Pots of Prosperity, and he even said it. If you could, he would run Pots of Prosperity. Pots of Prosperity is fantastic in this deck because it's rather... There's certain decks where Extravagance is really good. In this deck, Prosperity is just far superior because if you have the option to pick off the top 6 cards for whatever key peaks you need, right? Let's just say you have an Umi, an Electric Jellyfish, and you're just missing that one Kairushin that you can special summon off the Jellyfish. Well, more than likely you're going to hit it off the top 6. Or you're going to hit a card to get you to Kairushin, like a Foolish Burial Goods, to dump Ice Barrier, and then does, etc., etc. So, he ran this more for budget's sake. 3 Dark Ruler no more. This just solidifies more and more that Dark Ruler needs to be included in the deck if you're not maining Skill Drain, like Barely Yu-Gi-Oh does. Dark Ruler no more is fantastic. It allows you to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Even if you go first, this card is just comfortability for me. It's like a safety net, like I've said. This card's fantastic. I mean, going turn 2, and you're looking at a, I don't know, a Toad, and a Sprite Elf, and a Gigantic, and like a Carrot or something, or a Red. You laugh at them because you just Dark Ruler no more, activate Legendary Ocean, normal summon Kairushin, and you laugh, and you laugh, and you laugh. So, Dark Ruler, for sure. 3 of, I don't think this card should ever be on the side in this deck. This deck doesn't really go for OTKs very fast, therefore Dark Ruler should be included. I already spoke twice about Terraforming. I mean, it's a good card. Someone was pointing it out to me in my deck profile that maybe instead of 2 Warrior of Atlantis, I should run 1 Warrior of Atlantis and a Terraforming, because it's easier to stop under, like, if I get shifted, or, you know, if they stop it somehow. I mean, it's just easier to have that versatility, and I think that's a very smart way of looking at it. But he ended up not playing either because he was playing D-Fissure, and he just went the Terraforming round, which I think is just fine. Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is the God card. Okay, you open this, this is one of those cards that, again, you open, it's good. And you know what? I would even say even going second, this card's good. Problem is that it's at 1. Meaning, is it worth it? To me, it's probably not. I'd probably use that slot to even add in a 3rd D-Fissure. I mean, I guess this helps against Ash. I mean, it's good. I mean, if you got 1 spot in your deck left and you're just trying to fill up a card slot, I mean, Called by the Grave is just a fantastic card, right? Most, if not all decks should be including it. It's a great card. I just hate that it's a 1 of. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. 2 Sea Stealths. I think it's pretty universally known by now that 2 Sea Stealth is kind of the, I guess, magic number. But it's also very player preference, so you can either run 1 I'll run 2. I feel comfortable with 2. I'm assuming he felt comfortable with 2 because he has the 2 Sea Stealth, the 3 Legendary Oceans, the 1 Terraforming to get into a Legendary Ocean, and a Metaverse to get into a Legendary Ocean. So he has a lot of ways to see Umi first turn. Sea Stealth is fantastic. I believe it's very super highly underrated. And I don't mean the can't be targeted by non-water monster effects. I mean the effect that basically special summons out at the start of the battle phase. Because if they let it go through and they let a Kairu Shin summon, well then they're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? 2 Defissures. Like I said, this card is, I think, really good in this deck because not only is it a face-up spell card that can be protected with Sea Stealth attack, but it cucks everything. It cucks most things, right? Again, my only qualm with it is that you have to see it turn 1, and it's only really good if you're the first turn opponent. I mean, the first turn player. Going second with Defissure just feels bad. Excuse me. So, I'm kind of on the iffy on this. Still a good card, though. Still a good card, and I understand exactly why he did it. And like I said, Tier being as rampant and as strong as it is, I mean, it's probably worth the inclusion. Maybe when Kashtira's come out full power, maybe this card will be more of a side deck option. And even then I might be wrong. But only time will tell. Okay? And for the namesake, 3 Legendary Oceans. 3 Umis. This will always be the case. 3 is the way to go. Like I told you, like I told everyone, this card in itself is a floodgate against like sprites and stuff like that because their monsters become level 1. Like they're water monsters like Beaver and Angler and Swap Frog and stuff like that. Meaning they can't just normal summon Swap Frog, special summon out Blue, special summon out Jet because they're level 1s. Or they can't go into Toad or into a Link because they're level 1s. And it kind of cuts them. So this card is really good against sprites. And obviously it lowers the stars of your monsters as well, so they're normal summonable. For the traps, 2 Ice Barrier. I mean, I think Ice Barrier is a really good card in general by itself, just allowing you to activate it during damage calculation and essentially changing opponent's monsters to 0. It's non-targeting, and yeah. So 3 good reasons, especially the yeah. Okay, it's just a non-targeting effect negating card that's really good, and not only that, it also has another effect when it gets sent to the graveyard, basically allowing you to get a Kairu Shin or a Kaiju, or if you already have a level 5 or higher in the graveyard, you just have to dump a level 5 or higher water monster and get any water monster. That's it. Meaning, if I already have a Kaiju in the graveyard, okay, I just need to dump another water monster to the graveyard. So let's just say I dump a Kairu Shin, and let's just say I have an Electric Jellyfish in the graveyard, I can just add the Electric Jellyfish. Because the only clause that it has is that you have to send 1 level 5 or higher water monster to the graveyard from your deck. And then you can add 1 water monster from your graveyard to the hand. It doesn't specifically need to be that level 5 or higher water monster. I would say that's pretty good. Of course, you run this in tandem with the Foolish Barrier package. The 1 Metaverse. People in the comment section were wondering, okay, the 1 Metaverse is kind of weird. But when you think about it, if he's not running Warrior of Atlantis, he kind of needs to maximize on Legendary Ocean. So it makes sense. And just activating this during draw phase to get your Legendary Ocean. I mean, unfortunately, let's be real, guys. For people that have played this deck, we all have seen hands where we have not seen Umi. And that sucks because you basically are not playing a deck. You're basically not playing a deck if Umi's not online. So, Metaverse is a good card, just like Terraforming in a way. This card would be way better if Mystic Mine was legal, but oh well. No use crying over spilled milk, especially when that spilled milk deserved it. 2 Kairu Shins, Dark Reef. I'd say that this is the perfect number. I mean, this kind of sets up your entire board, right? So, yeah. Really nothing to say about Dark Reef. 2 is a perfect number, and 3 Sea Stealth attack. I still vouch by it. I think this is one of the best trap cards ever printed. This card is fantastic. So I'm assuming he went 3 Sea Stealth attack just to protect his Defissure at all costs. This card's really good. What can I say? And if he opens it, I mean, yes, 2 is the good number. 2 is the good number, but this isn't like, how do I put it? This is not like Sea Stealth Attack. I'm sorry, Sea Stealth 2. This is like where it kind of almost does nothing. It just kind of treated as Umi as in the graveyard or on the field. It really doesn't do anything because you require other cards. Sea Stealth Attack is just good by itself. Basically protecting Kairyu-Shin with a Catastrophe effect and basically allowing it to dodge things. Not only that, protect your face-up spell and traps. I mean, I think this card's insane. I think this card's insane, and I am a firm believer. At least for me, 3 is the perfect number because if I run 3, more likely I'll see 1, meaning I can search 1 less card off Kairyu-Shin, meaning I can get my Dark Reef, make plays, chain, you know, whatever, yada yada, or just activate whatever. So this card is just fantastic. I love seeing this card turn 1. Well, you guys already know it. For the side deck. Okay, so D-Shifter. I mean, this card, we already know this card either needs to get hit or you just open it because you're that good. But I believe this card does need to get hit. He's running 3 of... Do I agree with it in Umi? Probably not. I've tried playing around D-Shifter and I found it cuck me more than anything. He's not running Warrior of Atlantis, so maybe it doesn't cuck him as badly. I don't know. I mean, in theory, it hurts the opponent's deck more than it hurts yours, right? Because you're more of a field control deck, but at that point, you're already running D-Fissure. So maybe what he does is that he sides D-Fissure in going second, like if he goes second, so he can side D-Shifter going in first. Or, I mean, like, if he's going second, if he knows he's going second, he can side the shifters in first, take out the D-Fissures, and maybe, like, I don't know, something else. It's a good card. I mean, this card is way too good, to be honest, and I don't believe that we're going to be having it at 3 for too long. So yeah, abuse it while you can. Either that or Konami needs to start making some changes to graveyard-reliant decks. 1 Newman Irat Testudo. This card's gnarly. This card is gnarly. I have not thought about this card at all. Jeez, this card's so good. Neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 attack or less. 1800 or less attack. Meaning, yeah, no mills unless you know them from the deck. Or, I mean, this is basically an anti-sprite card, realistically. This is an anti-sprite card. That's good. That's a good card. You kind of have to hard draw it though. So how good is it? I'm trying to think here. How would he get it to hand? Well, okay. I see how he would get it to hand. So the Foolish Burial into Ice Barrier, level 5 or higher water monster, level 5, dump it to the graveyard, and you can either use Electric Jellyfish to special summon it out, or you can just normal summon it when you have a Legendary Ocean on the board. It's not a bad card. Neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 or less attack. That's really good. Because, like, I mean, that's good. That's good. What's the other one? I think the other one is like Newman Irat. Yeah, Testudo Irat Newman. Neither player can special summon monsters with 1800 or more attack. Yeah, right? This card is just way better. This card is just way better because it's searchable by Ice Barrier. And then normal summonable Legendary Ocean or Electric Jellyfish. But how often does that happen? And, okay, so this card is really good against sprites, obviously. This card is really good against sprites. Is it good against tiers? Probably not, unless I'm missing something. Unless I'm missing something? Oh well. This card's good. I like it. I like it as like a tech, but yeah. Maybe there's more stuff that you can run. I don't know. In this spot, I would have never thought of this. I would have probably just put like a Pankratops or something like that. Or maybe the 3rd D barrier. 3 Cosmic Cyclones. I mean, he's already main decking the Harpy's Feather. So 3 Cosmic Cyclones to deal with pesky stuff. 3 Evenly Match. I mean, this should be in everybody's side deck right about now. mine still hasn't gotten in the mail, so I'm gonna get on that. But 3 evenly matched, I mean, it's fantastic. It's a blowout card. 2 D-Barrier. It's good. It's a good card. I mean, it's good against Sword Soul. It's good against Sprites. It's good against Tier. It's good against Draco Slayers. I don't even know why I'm bringing up Draco Slayers, but I'm bringing it up. Draco Slayers. Like, it's a good card. It's a good card. But 2? I mean, I'd rather have cut the Numenera Testudo for the 3rd D-Barrier, right? Because this card is just way too slow. This card is way too slow, right? Because I'm hoping that if I draw Foolish Burial, I'm hoping I have another Kairyu in hand. And even that, because you can't special summon it off of Dark Reef. Can you special summon it off of Umi? No. You can't even special summon off of Numi. Like, this card is a normal summonable monster in this deck. It's too slow. I don't really like this card more than I think about it. I mean, in theory, it's good. It's just way too slow. I'd rather just run a Pink, or again, the 3rd D-Barrier. But hey, if it worked for him, if you look at this video, I'm curious as to when you cited this out, what you cited out and stuff, or your thought process behind this. Yeah, this is a pretty gnarly card. I've never thought about it. The 3 anti-spell. So this card's a good card, even though it is kind of scary. The reason why is because I believe this deck loses to Runic. I've never won against the Runics, because I mean, they can just effect negate, they can pop my Umi, they can banish me out, banish the cards that I need. I mean, it sucks. That deck sucks. I hate that deck. But anti-spell just kind of remedies that. First thing I noticed about the side deck is that he's not running There Could Be Only One. Does this deck need it? Probably not. Reason being, Fluanderies, right? The decks that There Could Be Only One actually kills, Fluanderies. You have a good matchup again on it, right? So they usually end on Barrier Statue and a M-Pen, or you can just activate Legendary Ocean, Normal Summon Kairyu, you know? And they can't really beat over Kairyu because it's an effect that happens during damage step. So I'll say it's pretty good. But Sprites, I mean, you're gonna go to any tournament expecting Sprites. Sprites is a very fun and very competitive deck. So I would say that it hurts Sprites a lot. I would probably risk not playing, like, knowing I'm not going to play against Runics, because I've really only ever played Runics online, So I'll probably change these out for There Can Be Only Ones. The deck just runs too well under There Can Be Only One. I mean, with Sea Serpent, Aqua, and Gagagigo being a reptile, I mean, it's really good. Oh, not only that, this is a fish. So, Sea Serpent, Aqua, Fish, and Reptile. I think There Can Be Only One is just a better side deck option at the moment. And not only that, it also hurts Tiers, because Tiers mostly have Aquas. So, yeah. That's the only thing I think I would change about the side deck, and maybe change the Newman to a Pinkertops or the 3rd D-Barrier. For the extra deck obviously probably doesn't matter. He's running Extrav. But if he did go into it, he ran the 2 Abyss Keeper, the 1 Shizuku, what a Chad, the 1 Gentle area, 1 World Sea Dragon Zealantis, whatever, it's a link 4, you know, it's a link 4, 1 Totally Awesome. I mean, this does come up with the Bahamut Shark, so yeah, I would say these are the only 2 cards that are really good. So the 1 Totally Awesome, 1 Bahamut Shark, 1 Cowboy probably for game or for time, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Ivagishki, number 4 Stealth Kraken, and a number 101 Silent Honor Arc. As you guys can tell, there are 3 spots missing. He ran 3 Synchros, which I wasn't entirely too sure of, but probably didn't matter as much. I cannot see those ever coming up. So he did run just like 3 Synchros there, but I don't really think that those ever came up. So yeah, regardless, Martin, congratulations on the top, my man. Thank you for giving Water Control a good name, and hopefully a lot more people pick up this deck. And And yeah, just congratulations on your top. If you do watch this video, because I did see that you commented on MCO40's channel, I left a comment down below. If you look at this, I'm curious on the Numenera Tessuto. I'm very curious on it. That's the one thing in your deck that like really stands out to me. So by all means, and if you have like a report on the decks that you played and stuff like that, yeah, like always, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like, rate, comment, and subscribe. And see ya.